Hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf Collectibles. Today we're talking about this little London Transport red tank engine. So this came out for 1 year in 1978 and has become a little bit of a collector's favourite. They're not particularly rare, but they do seem to command a little higher price than sort of the standard GWR tank engines. So plan today is to do a little video on this, but before I get on to that, now it's been a few days since my last post, and the reason being is I've got myself an internet bully, or what do they call them, trolls now, whatever it's called. And yeah, it's knocked this wind out my sails, to be quite frank. I was really beginning to get a stride on, and enjoying putting the videos up, and then this guy has, to be honest, just been really horrible. What he's done is he's taken snapshots of my videos and then stopped them halfway through and gave his own commentary. And the point he's trying to get across is I don't know what I'm doing and my opinion doesn't count. That's fair enough. I don't really care. But it's the way he's done it, which is snapshotting my face, my pictures, while he's doing it behind the camera, which is just very, very underhand and, just not on. I think he's missed the point over why I'm doing this and why most YouTubers do this. We just do it for a bit of fun. There's very few people that make a living out of this, and that's certainly not my ambition or expectation. It's just a bit of fun. So the bit that's got me is he's actually reported me to YouTube for misleading you, my audience, because I'm showing you how I do things. So what I want to be absolutely clear, and I just want to be really clear, anybody who's watched my videos knows that I'm not, I don't know what I'm doing. I just make it up as I go along and I just enjoy it. So if you want to know how to repair these beautiful locos and get them running perfectly, there are hundreds of videos across the internet. There's hundreds of videos on YouTube, and there's some really good YouTubers that specialise in particular areas like 00 or Triangle or whatever, and they give you so much of information on there. One I've been watching recently is 00 Bill, absolutely fascinating, well worth a watch, and there's loads of people like that. So if you want instruction on the videos, if you want instruction on how to repair the locos on a video, then please look around. If however you want to follow me, follow my hobby, just enjoy it with me, share your comments with me. I mean, I'm open to constructive criticism. I'm not that, not that thin-skinned. It's fine, but this guy has overstepped the mark. If you want to tell me where I've gone wrong, if you want to share your advice, the last 3 months have been absolutely amazing. So many wonderful people getting in touch and sharing their hobbies, their thoughts, the way they've done things. It's just been great. I've loved every moment of it, and long may it continue. And yeah, finally to this guy, I mean, I don't know why you're doing it. You're doing it to other YouTubers. It's very, very cowardly, and it's very underhand. And mate, please go out and find some joy in the world, because honestly it will help you with your bitterness. It really, really will. Go and find some joy. It works wonders. Anyway, with that said, let's get back to the loco. Plan for today, I'll show you how this runs. Now when it turned up, it was missing the front buffer, it was missing the coupling. I've found those in some of my scrap boxes, so I've added those. It's not a particularly great runner, and I'll show you some footage of that in a moment of it running. So what I thought we'd do is take this over the bench, give the body a good old clean, pop the body off, have a look inside. I think it's a sealed motor, I'm not sure on these. I haven't done one of these in many years. And just basically clean up the pickup, see if we can get a little bit of a better runner. I've also got some footage from the Severn Valley Railway, where they have a full-size version of one of these, and I thought we'd do a little talk around that, because it's quite interesting the colour that Hornby have chosen on here. And I'll try and give you a little bit of background to the Hornby model, and also I'll try and give you a little bit of the history of the real thing. So I'll just run it on the track for you, and then we'll take it over to the bench and have a closer look. Right, let me just demonstrate how this runs. It's very jolty. I think it's just very, very dirty. I think we can get that running a little bit better. Yeah, look, it's stuck again. So as I say, this has become a little bit of a collector's favourite. It was only released, as I understand it, only released in 1978 for 1 year, and only actually released as a set. Now if you look at the moulding, you can see it's identical to the sort of staple GWR tank engine that Hornby have been making for many moons. Probably it's probably a trying body actually, but you can see it's exactly the same moulding. But this one marked up with London Transport and the L90. Now this particular example, the lining on it is really good condition. The interesting thing that I saw is one of Sam's Trains videos from a couple of years ago. He reviewed this loco, and his one actually had the chromed cover here, the cover for the I guess it's safety valves. You can see on the GWR one that it's been chromed. Now his one is chromed. Now I'm not sure what is original, whether some were chromed, some weren't. I don't know the history of that. I'll be interested if anybody does know. But as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I can find out, this was only ever released in a set. Now I base that on this 1978 catalogue, and if I just come through there, it's quite interesting going through these old catalogues, the way that they're kind of presented. And you see this is our first sort of picture of the loco here, with the London Transport livery on there, but this one's showing in a much more maroon colour rather than just the moulded in red of the engine. And I'll just keep going on. This one would have been about the year, well, probably about the year I first started getting into model railways. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, right, so here we go. The London Transport goods set, R690. London Transport created several of their colourful GWR pannier tanks on works, freight and departmental duties right up until 1971. So basically this came with, you can see there's a bridge with some track I guess, and these sort of standard wagons that you seem to see everywhere. Now going back through the rest of the catalogue, if I go on to like the steam locos, you can see how there's some favourites in here. There's the Duchess, tells you about extension layouts, and then onto the locomotives here. You can see that we've got King Edward, Evening Star, then we've got the couple of tank engines. You can see our GWR pannier tank is listed in there. This one does actually look like it's in the matte green rather than the gloss green. But as I go through here, there's no reference to this being a release on its own, so I think it was only ever released in the set, and I believe that's why this has become a little bit of a collector's favourite, because you know, compared to the other tanks, a little bit of a rarity, I would suggest. So yeah, anyway, as I say, this isn't a particularly good runner. You can see the sort of dirt and grime on the wheels there, so let's get it open and give it a bit of a clean and see if we can spruce a new bit of life into it. Right, let's slide the body off this. Now I have been watching the prices of these. They do seem to fluctuate. You know, if you get one in a really good condition, they seem to go up to sort of £40–45. The average price is probably around 35 for 40 for reasonable condition, but you know, it is literally the only difference is the colour. So yeah, anyway, let's have a look what we've got in here. So I'm going to slide the motor out of there, and just give the chassis and the wheels a good old clean. I don't think there's much I can actually do to the motor. May take the brushes out, give those a clean, that might help, and a little bit of clean on the armature. So I'll just move that over there so it's out of the way, and let's simply slide the motor out. As always, I'm going into this blind. I've not watched any videos on how properly to do this, and I'm going to repeat what I said. If you want to do loco repairs, there's a couple of really good YouTubers. I think the one that I've been watching mostly recently, that a lot of people have recommended to me, is 00 Bill. Absolutely fantastic. I'm fascinated by watching what he's doing, and as I say, really skilled and really knowledgeable. So right, oh, that's interesting, that's just clipped in there, not a lot to that. Okay, and the pickup running down through to the base. What I might do is just for ease take that off of there, just unsolder that for a moment. Alright, so I'll pop that wire back on later and just take off the plate at the bottom. There's one screw. It's got the pickups on it, So just thread that wire back through. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and give the wheels a good clean, and then give the chassis a good soapy wash and an oil. Same with the body, get some soapy water on there, give that a good clean up. And then on the motor, we'll just pull out the brushes and give them a little bit of a wipe over. I don't want to do too much on here. I think it's, you know, the motor doesn't look too bad, it doesn't feel too bad. So okay, let's crack on. So as I say, this is seeming to work very well for me, which is just a cream bathroom cleaner, and just running it around the wheels. Seems to take quite a bit of grime off of the surface without doing any sort of larger damage to the all I've done off camera is I've carried on cleaning the wheels, as I say, with what I found to be good, which is bathroom cleaner. There was one stubborn bit that I just couldn't remove, and I did use a little bit of wire wool just very locally. I can't remember which wheel it was on, but that removed it. And then I've just given it a nice soapy bath, cleaned it all off, and just given it really good oil all over. And you can see it's running nice and smoothly. So that's that done. Body, again, just warm soapy water, and it's come up an absolute treat. Looks perfect. Really pleased with that, so that's good. There was some sort of blemishes down the side, and I was a bit worried that was in the moulding, but it's not. It's just dirt and grime on the side. So let's have a look at the brushes on this motor. Let's say I'm not overly familiar with these. Right, slide that out. That's one brush, one spring out. Let's just persuade that round a little bit out of the way. Okay. That's the other spring before I lose it. And let's just tap the other bush out. There we go. Right, let's have a look at the armature. And give that a little wipe over, it's not going to do it any harm. Yeah, it's not too bad, I've just given them a little wipe over, I've not done too much there. Right, let's have a look at these brushes. Yeah, again, don't want to do too much to them. That's one, I'll slide that back in, making sure it's around the right way. That way. Let's just pop a spring back on. Perfect. Just put that back down the side, out of the way. Right, let's slide this back on. Okay, let's put that back together. Right, let's have a look at this. So again, these don't look too bad, they just need a little bit of a right, giving those a little bit of a clean up, as you can see. Just put the tiniest bit of grease on the worm gear. Not too much, just a little bit on there. And let's drop the motor back in. Oh no, sorry, this goes on first. So let's slide the pickup plate on. As I say, I've just bent these forward just a tiny bit to make sure there's a good connection there. That looks pretty good. That's it. I've put it on upside down. Oh dear. Comedy moment. Right, let's try again. Slide the wire up through the chassis this time. Okay, and slide that into place. Seems to want to fit a bit better this time around. Never mind. That's that done. Right, let's slide the motor in. That did seem to clip at the front. I'm guessing down here like so. Yeah. There it goes, that's in. Right, and then this one goes on the back. Oh, actually, I think it's that other one. It's not this one. That's the one for the side. I just need to drop that wire back on there and we're done. I've gone through so many soldering irons over the years that don't reach the right temperature, and they never give me a nice clean solder. Don't give me a nice clean joint because they're not hot enough. So I bought a cheap one just off of Amazon. It's worked an absolute treat. It heats up lovely and quick, and generally does a good job. Right, there we go. Right, let's go see how that runs before I put the body back on. Right, back onto the test track. I'll just give it a little bit of power. Oh, what a difference. I mean, I didn't think there's anything actually wrong with it. We just needed a good clean. That's a lovely runner. Nice and smooth. Lots of control. And I spoke too soon. There you go. Yeah. You know, I spoke too soon, but it's still running better than it did before. I'm quite happy with that. Right, let's go and get the body back on and give it a little run. Right, just slide the body back on. Hopefully this will fit. Yeah. And that screw goes down the side here. I use something like that. lovely. Looks like new. Perfect. Let's go and give it a little run. So a few weeks ago I had the pleasure of visiting the Severn Valley Railway, and in one of their stations they've got an engine shed that's set up there as a museum with some of their engines on display. And the very first engine I came across was this R690 pannier tank from London Transport, sitting there in its burgundy red. You can see the pictures on the screen at the moment. Absolutely fantastic. I had no idea it was there. Obviously I was aware of the Hornby loco, but you know, in my naivety I hadn't realised that actually the Hornby loco was a depiction of a real engine, in my ignorance. But interesting to see that sort of they're in this, you know, the red colour there in the sort of burgundy, the sort of deep red, whereas Hornby have got a straightforward moulded in mould colour red. But anyway, the two locos aren't the same. So the one in the Severn Valley Railway is L95, which came into service in 1960 and ran right through to 1971. And the Hornby loco is L90, which came into service a couple of years later in 1962, but still ran through to 1971. I find that quite interesting because I hadn't realised that steam carried on past sort of the late 60s at the end of the you know, the steam era. So these engines were running right into the 70s, and yeah, fantastic. So there's 853 pannier tanks built by the Great Western Railway, the GWR, and also the British Railways, built between 1929 and 1950. Between 1956 and 1963, 13 of the locomotives were sold to London Transport for departmental duties. So they weren't carrying passengers, they were employed in sort of night engineering services and used for shunting in the yards. And to my surprise, 6 of the London Transport engines have been preserved. So yeah, this was a model that I was aware of as a Hornby collector, and one that I wanted to add to my collection, and also to find out a little bit more about its real life sibling. Right, let's see how it runs around the layout. So backwards and forwards, beautiful. Nice slow speed. Let's send it off round. See it disappearing down the back there. I'll just come around here, catch it as it's going across the bridge. Beautiful runner. There it comes through again. A quick go on the incline track. Nice and slowly up round the bend. Right, it disappears off round the back. Let's see if it's going to come back. Sounding promising. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. Right, I'll just do some shots with some wagons on here, so you have to forgive me, these are modern wagons. Obviously, apart from the guards van on the back there that's seen better days, these are just ones I had round on the layout. I tend to keep most of my wagons away in a storage container underneath the bench, and it's a real palaver to lift it out. So yeah, and obviously you know, the loco is from 1978, and which is 45 years old, and these, you know, as I say, are modern wagons, but they give the principle and they give the look, give the feel of that that freight set. Right, and finally, for no other reason other than I can, let's double head the engine, double head the train with 2 GWR pannier tanks. Oh, wrong way. Let's go this way. So there you go, that's the London Transport Hornby pannier tank, and if I'm correct, it was only ever released in a full set with trucks and carriages and things, and was never released on its own. So for an old loco, you know, 45 year old loco, this one, little bit of a clean up there, it's running like a dream. Really pleased with it, and really pleased to actually have one of these in the collection. As I say, because they were only around for a year, they have become a little bit of you know, one of those ones that you have in your Hornby collection if you're a Hornby collector. So yeah, really pleased with it. Anyway, we'll leave that there. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Really appreciate all the support the channel's getting. And again, just to reiterate, you know, I'm not an, you know, by any stretch of anybody's imagination, an expert in these things. I just enjoy the hobby, and I just enjoy sharing it with anybody who's willing to listen. So yeah, please don't take it too seriously, and if you want to know how to do things properly, then as I say, there are other places to go and have a look. Anyway, as I say, we'll leave that one there. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.